I like to finish games before I review them, or at least get very close to the end. Would a review of a game I only finished halfway through be mostly accurate? Sure, but what if the game takes a nosedive into awfulness in the second half? I can't sleep peacefully knowing that I might have recommended a game where only half of it is good. Actually, I don't sleep peacefully anyway, but that's another issue. Why am I telling you about my review criteria? Well, because I don't think I'm gonna finish Satisfactory. I'm in the last 2 tiers now and it's too much for me. It's not an issue with the game, it's an issue with me. I'm too stupid for Satisfactory. Why am I too stupid for Satisfactory? Well, you could come up with a few theories, like maybe I was born this way, or I'm a product of my environment, or the fact that my brother accidentally hit me in the head with a shovel when I was a toddler. By the way, yeah, that's real. I have the scar to prove it. It's one of my brother's biggest regrets, but it's just extremely funny to me. But I think it's important to talk about the 2 things you need to be good at to perform well in this game. Planning and visualization. Sure, I can visualize and imagine how I would build something just as well as the next guy, but planning? Absolutely not. These 2 concepts are very tied to each other, so let me explain it better. You need to visualize how you will build a bridge, and then plan out how you're gonna do it, and then execute. I can execute. I am very good at execute. But the first 2 are where it goes wrong. So I just end up doing something that works. It might not work well, but it works. And it's certainly not pretty. This is not a good approach to Satisfactory, because you're making a factory and mistakes and these less than ideal setups stack up and will only get worse and worse, and will make any new additions doomed to be not very good. You need to plan for the future. I did not do that. How could I when I can't really know what new stuff I'm gonna unlock next? Now I'm in the last 2 tiers, and every time I have to make something new in the factory for progression, I say to myself, how the fuck am I gonna do this? Now I could make a long string of machines to make the object, which is mostly what I've done, or I could try to build vertically. And I try to visualize how I'm gonna do that and how many machines I'm gonna have and how many floors I will need. And then my brain just shuts down. The solution is probably to just visualize it roughly and execute, get a mess, and then just make adjustments and fixes until it looks and works pretty. But that takes a long time and I'm lazy. Okay, yeah, honestly, laziness might just be why my factory isn't pretty. Also, the game keeps crashing when I try to add more to the conveyor belt I have. So, playthrough is kill. The review. Of course I was gonna review the game. I didn't play this game for 55.9 hours just to get 550 words onto a docx file. So here's the review. It's good. Really good. It delivers a dopamine high in a different way than most other games. While in a lot of others it can be like instant gratification, in this one you put in a lot of work until you really get that dopamine high. You usually get that high when you climb up on a mountain and look down at the factory you created. Sure, it's a mess, but it's my mess. I built that. My glorious mess. I was so proud I showed it to my girlfriend. Look. Þarna er ég með kolbrennslu fyrir rafmagn. Svo þarna þessi langa pipeline. Það er til að koma með olíu hingað sem fer svo í fuel generator og refinery til að gera plast og hérna gummi. Svo er allt þetta mess.
Yeah, it's big.
Ég búinn að gera allt þetta bara sjálfur.
Vá, duglegur.
Takk. Can you hear how proud she is of me? I also like the ways you progress because you have so many options. Either through the milestones, the space elevator, the research building, and the fun coupon thing. It means you always have something to do, some goal to reach, and if you get stuck on a milestone or something, you can always find something else in research. The fun coupon thing is basically like throwing excess materials in the trash and getting a ticket for it. You can use that ticket to buy stuff that is not necessary but very nice to have. Like you can unlock a wall that has a dedicated conveyor belt hole. Nice to have but not necessary. Milestones, research and the space elevator are roughly the same with just delivering materials to them, with research being the easiest and the space elevator being the hardest. Or I guess the most time and resource heavy. There is combat in the game, but it's clearly not the focus. You have some guns, but it's mostly just slapping around the local wildlife when they get territorial. Look, I know it's your home, but I need to run a conveyor belt through it. There is some variety in the enemies you face, but like I said, you're not playing this game for the combat. In Factorio, the threat of aliens overwhelming your base is constantly there, but in this game it's not a concern. Here you just chill and build and slap down the occasional charging bull. There is far more of an exploration element. For a lot of research stuff, you need to just find stuff randomly out in the world. Which can be annoying, but you scan for resources with your scanner and on your way over there you will likely find what you need on the way. And then, of course, once you get to your resource, you set up a mine. And how would you get resources back to base? There are some different ways, but the only one I ever used was conveyor belts. Because with conveyor belts, it's just set it and forget it. You could have a train or a car get stuff, but I assume that requires some management, and I don't want to deal with that. You also need power. As you expand your resource generation, you also need to expand power generation. If you don't do that, everything shuts down. For early power, you need to do a lot of manual labor, cutting down trees and gathering leaves. My delicate hands hate that, so I was very happy when I got coal and then oil power generation. They can be entirely automated. And that's the obvious appeal of this game. Automation. You want to create a machine that sustains itself and produces at great efficiency. You need to work for that, but once you accomplish that, it feels pretty good. But it's early access, so what's wrong or missing here? Well, my number one complaint are these gas-producing rocks I can't get rid of. Why can't I just blow them up? Come on, guys. Having some wildlife threat that could destroy your factory could make things interesting, but will definitely be annoying. I think it's the right decision to have combat as just this extra thing. I don't really like that the map is locked behind research, or well, I would be fine with it if it was an earlier unlock. And to even unlock the research tree it's tied to, you have to find a resource that can be pretty hard to come by. At least it was for me. It took me as a beginner way too long to get the map in my opinion, and if the concern with getting the map too early is making resources too easy to find, well, then there are way better ways to obscure that than locking away this incredibly useful tool. I tried using one car and honestly I didn't feel that I benefited from it at all. I think I just wasted more time trying to get it to fit through cramped spaces and getting it up past some elevation. And if it gets flipped over, it takes a while to get it back on its wheels. I just ended up saying fuck this, I'll walk. There's nothing else I really had a problem with, and I didn't run into any performance issues. This is not really a problem, I actually use this to my advantage a lot, but when the game autosaves and you're flying in your jetpack, once it finishes saving, it will shoot you farther up in the air, and it's quite fun. The gameplay fantasy of making your own self-sustained factory is executed really well here, but it's elevated with the sound design. Hearing the hum of the machines, the conveyor belts and the liquids going through pipes, it's soothing and nice. I love the sound so much that I use it as background noise. My personal method is getting on top of a manufacturer and then just leaving the game on while I write or edit. It's such a relaxing game too, I really like that about it. You're just chilling, making a string of constructors and various other machinery to make something, or laying down a long ass oil pipeline just mellowing out, high on life. Until some stupid alien animal shoots fire at you or charges at you. It's just extremely fun when that happens and doesn't at all make me really mad. But there is a lizard dog you can tame by giving him food and he will find stuff for you and you can pet him. And he's adorable and I love him. The game is really intuitive, has great building tools and it's rare that you don't know what's going on in your factory. Why something isn't working, for example, it's usually a short investigation. Like if power is shutting down, it's probably because you're consuming more electricity than you're generating, and if an item is being built too slowly, the machine is probably not getting enough of an item or resource it needs fast enough. So you speed that up somehow. It's a great, unique game, and even with Factorio being the most similar one I guess, they are still very different even if they both provide the same gameplay goal of making a glorious factory. I enjoyed my time with it, but now I need a break from factory making brain. I vigorously recommend the game, and I give it 4 of these out of 5 of these. I wanted to make this video a little differently than I usually do, just to experiment, see what works and what doesn't. And like with the skills I learned in Satisfactory, I just have to make the thing and then fix and adjust what's wrong. Except on YouTube you're kinda stuck with the original and you'll just have to make those improvements on the next video. Oh well, call me Uncle Brian and have a productive day.